Good afternoon. Welcome to VANIK-IAS. We will discuss current affairs of 6th August. And first question is, which of the following are the possible consequences of heavy sand mining in riverbeds? Heavy sand mining in riverbeds, it has been a problem. And what are the possible consequences? Decrease of salinity of the river. No, this will increase in the salinity. This will increase the salinity of the river. That is presence of salt content. Increase salinity of river. So first statement is wrong. If first statement is wrong, then all the three are wrong. So only 2 and 3 are answer. Pollution of groundwater, obviously pollution of groundwater will happen because there is the sands, they purify the groundwater, right? It has a so heavy sand mining that will create the pollution of groundwater because without any filtration directly the various pollutants will enter to the groundwater, right? Then lowering the water table, this is also right, lowering the water table because very sands, they conserve the water at higher level. So all the three options will be so 2 and 3 options will be the right answer. So sand mining it increases salinity of river. Recently 2 rivers, namely Hasdeo and Man, are in news. Hasdeo and Man are in news. These rivers are tributaries of which of the following river? Hasdeo river, Man river, Eve, Tel, they are the tributaries of Mahanadi river, right? Mahanadi river, it is the largest river of Odisha. Its origin, largest river of Odisha, right? It is third largest peninsular river. Mahanadi river is third largest peninsular river, right? Third largest peninsular river is Mahanadi, right? First is Godavari. Third largest peninsular is Mahanadi. Mahanadi, it originates from Chhattisgarh. Mahanadi originates from Chhattisgarh, right? Chhattisgarh state. It also passes through Jharkhand and Odisha. It also Jharkhand and Madhya Pradesh and Odisha. That is Mahanadi river, the largest river of Odisha. So Hasdeo and Man are the tributaries of Mahanadi river. Okay. Consider the following statements. Rule of law index is released by which of the following? Amnesty International? No. Amnesty International, it releases corruption index. Amnesty International, Transparency International releases corruption index. Amnesty International is also an international NGO. International Court of Justice, no, they do not. International Court of Justice, they do not release these indices. World Justice Report, it is World Justice Report that releases that is Rule of Law Index, in which India has rank of 50 and India has not improved its rank, right? India has not improved its rank in Rule of Justice because, and that violates their fundamental rights. How much are fundamental rights and the fundamental rights plus for example your human rights, fundamental rights, early justice, all these things. This Rule of Law Index is based on Article 39A. Suppose Article 39A, how Article 39A is getting implemented, that is providing justice to the poor, how it is really easy for the people to get justice. All these things are based on Rule of Law Index. In India, there is another pendency of judiciary cases. The judiciary pendency of cases in judiciary is so huge. There is there is huge delay in justice. All these factors, they decide the Rule of Law Index, and that is highlighted by World Justice Report. Transparency International that publishes what's corruption index, right? Transparency International. Okay. Oxfam produces inequality report. Oxfam is always famous for inequality report. Oxfam, it is famous for inequality report. Inequality. These are famous agencies. Inequality report. Okay. Next. Consider the following statement recently mentioned in the news. What are the following statements? Okay. Chronomorsk, it is in the city of Ukraine. This is Chronomorsk, it is city of Ukraine, from which for the first time there is cargo supply started from Ukraine after the war. Then Yuzhny, this is not in Russia, it is in Ukraine. It is in Ukraine, not in Russia. This is wrong. There is no city like Taman. This is wrong. There is Raman in your California city. So this is wrong. And Rostov on Don, this belongs to Russia. So only two pairs are right. Rostov on Don is right, and Chronomorsk, it is in Ukraine, usually in Russia. Right. Next, how many? So two pairs are right with respect to it. Next question: Bosphorus Strait is recently seen in the news. It connects which of the following seas? It is Sea of Black Sea and Sea of Marmara. Black Sea and Sea of Marmara, that is Bosphorus Strait. There is also Dardanelles Strait. Dardanelles Strait, that near that place, Dardanelles Strait, right? Strait. Suppose this region is Black Sea, right? Just above Black Sea there is Ukraine, and here there is Russia's. Just above here there is Russia's Crimean Peninsula. Here is your Georgia. Here is your Turkey, right? Here is your Bosphorus and Dardanelles Strait. Here Sea of Marmara. Here Sea of Aegean Sea, right? Aegean Sea is also there, and here, Aegean Sea. This is Sea of Marmara. This is your Sea of Azov, right? Sea of Azov is present here, and finally here is your Mediterranean Sea. It connects the Sea of Marmara, Aegean Sea. They connect Black Sea to the Mediterranean Sea, and Sea of Azov, that is just above the Aegean Sea and Sea of Marmara, and there is Bosphorus Strait and Dardanelles Strait that connects the Black Sea with the Sea of Marmara. And these countries are Ukraine, here there is Russia, Crimean Peninsula, Georgia, Turkey, Bulgaria, Romania, Moldova. All these countries they surrounds Black Sea. Just a second. Okay, consider the following Indian ports recently mentioned in the news. Kandla Port, it is in the Kutch region of Gujarat. It is the yes, they are Kandla Port, and arrange them ports from north to south. It is the northernmost, right? Kandla Port, it is in Gujarat, Kutch region. Chennai Port, it is not. Kakinada Port, second. In Andhra Pradesh there is Kakinada Port, that will be the second, right? 1 and 4. It will be the second. Andhra Pradesh Kakinada Port. Third is Krishnapatnam Port, that is the same. So that will be the third. So first will be your Kandla, then Kakinada Port of Andhra Pradesh, then Krishnapatnam Port of Andhra Pradesh, then Chennai. So 1, 4, 3, 2 answers is the right answer regarding the these ports are from north to south. First Kandla, then Kakinada of Andhra Pradesh, then Krishnapatnam Andhra Pradesh, then Chennai. These are the Indian ports. We have 200 big ports and smaller ports, right? In total Indian, with a 7,520 km of coastal lines. Consider the following statement. Sunflower oil is the largest consumed vegetable oil, followed by palm and soybean. No. Palm oil is the largest consumed vegetable oil, that constitute around 70% of the demand. 70% of the demand. In total amount of this vegetable oil, around 70% is imported from more than 60% is imported from other countries. Nearly 70% of sunflower oil consumption is in South India. Yes, this is right. So only B answer is right. Sunflower oil is not consumed largest vegetable oil, it is the palm oil. So only B answer is the right answer. Right. Next question. Consider the following statements. Australia, Canada, Finland, Japan, Chile. Which of the countries are associated with Mineral Security Partnership? Mineral Security Partnership, there are 10 countries in it. Mineral Security Partnership led by USA. This is to cooperate with rare earth materials. What are these rare earth materials? What do you mean by rare earth materials? Those materials which are very important regarding the semiconductor development or solar development, right? Rare earth materials. Modern development of semiconductors, especially they depends on rare earth materials. To cooperate regarding these rare earth materials, those 10 countries have come together. That is maritime security, partnership groupings. And here Japan, yes, Japan, Finland, Canada, Australia, and your Korea, all this they have come together. They have come together to start maritime mineral security partnership groupings. Chile is not in that list. Okay, rare earth material. Next, consider the following statement: heavy earth materials or rare earth materials, both are same thing. Heavy rare earth materials are available in India, but not in the extractable quantities. Yes, this is true. Not in the extractable quantities. Right? We have also gold mines. We have also petroleums, but that is not in extractable quantities, or the amount of exploration will be more, cost of exploration is more as compared to the purchasing. That's why India is not using them. China is the leading producer of rare earth materials. Yes, China is leading producer of rare earth materials. This is true. So both the statements 1 and 2 are right. Next, remember, China is leading producer of rare earth material. Rare earth material is important because at present the demand of renewable energy is increasing and various countries are focusing on semiconductor development. Right? India has also started a semiconductor mission to import this rare earth material and start develop its manufacturing. Consider the following: in India, state governments do not have power to auction non-coal mines. This is wrong. Right? Non-coal mines means there are various types of mineral in the state. For example, stone. That all these are controlled under the state government. We cannot say that state government do not have the power. But so far as coal mines is concerned, it is central government has the power, and central government PSUs like MCL, CCL, right, Coal India Limited, Mahadaji Coalfields Limited, these are under central government, right? They engage in auction of coal mines. So this is wrong. State government has the power to the auction non-coal mines like stone and other minerals. Center decide whom the coal blocks should be allocated. Yes, that is decided by the center. Andhra Pradesh and Jharkhand do not have gold mines. Andhra Pradesh and Jharkhand do not have gold mines. This is right. And Rajasthan has iron ore mines. Actually, Rajasthan has iron ore mines, but that is not a significant quantity. Odisha has maximum iron ore. Remember, Odisha has maximum iron ore. It is very few in Rajasthan, right? Odisha has maximum iron ore. Maximum iron ore. And your Jharkhand is a country which has maximum minerals. Maximum natural reserves is found in Jharkhand. Odisha is second largest so far as natural reserves is concerned. Jharkhand is highest so far as natural reserves is concerned. So 2 and 3 will be the answer. Andhra Pradesh and Jharkhand don't have gold mines, and center decides whom the coal block will be allocated. State has the power. They have federal power for non-coal minerals to natural resources to extend natural resources, non-coal minerals that can be used by the state government. That can be done by the state government. Next, which of the following statements with reference to Energy Conservation Amendment Bill? Energy Conservation Amendment Bill, this is passed recently. That will be going to be led in the parliament. The Bill 6 mandate minimum use of non-fossil sources. Yes, it's used minimum use of non-fossil sources. It has given direction to mandating the every institution, every decentralized manner to use also renewable energy, right? Including green hydrogen, green ammonia, and green ammonia, non-fossil sources. Mandate minimum use of non-fossil sources. This is right. The bill for the first time 6 make large residential building comply mandatorily with energy efficiency code. Energy efficiency code, that means that should use the appliances of that are energy efficient, that do not consume huge amount of energy. So this is will mandated by energy conservation amendment bill, because we have promised significant very big promises in the national determined commitments in the Glasgow summit that happened in COP26 in Scotland. We said that we will achieve net carbon neutrality by 2070. Also by 2030, we will produce 500 gigawatt of renewable energy. We will reduce our carbon intensity by 45% by that time. We will use our energy consumption only 50% by that time. So it's a very ambitious target. That's why Government of India has been taking such steps, bringing this Energy Conservation Amendment Bill, and The approach should be decentralized. Decentralized means every organization, every private organization, every government institution, in every household, they must come forward to achieve this dream. Community participation, private participation is very essential to achieve that dream, right? That's why, because to maintain its commitment in the NDC that made in the Glasgow summit, India is bringing this bill, Energy Conservation Amendment Bill. Okay. Consider the following statement with regard to National Anti-Doping Agency. National Anti-Doping Agency, it's not a statutory body. This is wrong. It's not a statutory body. Government is bringing bill to make it a statutory body, right? It is a society under Society Registration Act. It's a society under Society Registration Act 1860. Society under Society Registration Act of 1860, right? It was set up under National Anti-Doping Act 2005. No, this is also wrong. It is set up under Society Registration Act 1860. It is a society. Society means few members will come together to make a social cause. Right? It may be government or private organization. Next, this National Anti-Doping Agencies include scientists and representatives from the Indian Olympic Association. Scientists and representatives from the Indian Olympic Association. So 3 only is the answer. Diammonium phosphate, DAP, contains micronutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus. DAP can be used as a fire retardant to prevent forest fire. Which of the following statements are not correct? Here both the statements are correct, right? That is, diammonium phosphate, DAP, contains micronutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus. DAP can be used as a fire retardant to prevent forest fire. So both the statements are correct here, and neither 1 and 2 are incorrect. So D is the answer, right? Next, which of the following are the objectives of SEZs, right? Which of the following are the special economic zones? Objectives of special economic zones are generation of economic activity. Obviously, huge industrial corridors will be developed in those areas. Promotion of export of the services. This is the major cause. Promotion of export of goods and services. That will be the major cause, and also investment from foreign resources, because a particular area, if that is declared as special economic zones, then what will happen? That area connectivity will increase. That environmental clearance, all these land banks that will be created, so that investors will not face any such problem. And there will be various associated industries as well. Right? There should be huge amount of unused land, non-forest land, and non-agricultural land. If that area is present, there should be good sources of water, so that can be provided to the industries. There should be good modes of communication, for example, air communication, your railway communication, and also land communication. There should be land bank by the state governments as well, right? Land bank, they can use land bank. So all of the above are these are the objectives. The objectives of the SEZ is special economic zone is to generation economic activity, so that huge amount of people will be getting employed. Then promotion of export of services. Promotion of export of services, that is the objective, and investment from foreign sources, that is to increase the foreign direct investments in that particular area. Consider the following statements regarding Right to Education Act. Right, in 2009 it came and got implemented in 2010. As for Right to Education Act, to be eligible for appointment as a teacher in a state, a person would be required to process minimum qualification laid down by the concerned state and concerned state councils of teacher education. First, we'll see this is not state council of teacher education. In a concerned state, there may be central, maybe that will controlled by the center as well. So this is wrong. And RTRT for teaching primary classes candidate is required to pass teacher eligibility test. Now it is important, teacher eligibility test should be conducted in accordance with the National Council of Teacher Education guidelines. So National Council of Teacher Education guidelines, they decide the process. In India, more than 90% teacher education institutions are directly under the state government. No, they are 90% teacher education institutions, they are under the majority of the teacher, they are under the central government, right? For example, Delhi, it is under central government. So you cannot say that it is under state government. So only is the answer regarding to right to education. In matter free and compulsory education to up to 14 years of age, from 6 to 14 years of age. There is a 25% reservation also. 25% reservation will be that is to be provided to the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, to the deprived section of the society. Right, deprived section of society, they will be provided with a reservation of 25%. Right, in every primary school, in every private school as well. Those private schools which are, providing education to rich students, they are mandated to provide education to 25% of the total strength to the deprived section of the society. Now, we will see the important facts for prelim. First is Energy Conservation Amendment Bill. Energy Conservation Amendment Bill, it is in news. The bill 2022 seeks to amendment the Energy Conservation Act 2001. Remember, Energy Conservation Act 2001 was there, and this bill want to amend it. The bill will help meeting 5 targets announced by Indian Prime Minister in UNFCCC, United Nations UNFCCC, right, Climate Change Summit, that is COP26 in the Glasgow, that is in Scotland, in 2021. Right, the 5 targets India has won, that is Panchamrit, that is called as Panchamrit. This word associated with the NDC or nationally determined commitments by the government of India in the Glasgow summit, Panchamrit. The main objective of the proposed amendments is to reduce India's power consumption via fossil fuel and thereby minimize the nation's carbon footprint. We have to reduce the power consumption by fossil fuel and minimize nation's carbon footprint. Carbon footprint means amount of carbon a particular country that will emit to the atmosphere, that is carbon footprint. Carbon sink means how much amount of carbon that get absorbed by the carbon sink or the forest or the plants, that is carbon sink. Carbon footprint means that is the emitted to the atmosphere. The bill seeks to mandate minimum use of non-fossil sources, including green hydrogen, green ammonia, biomass, ethanol energy and feedstock. See, mandate minimum use of non-fossil sources, mandate minimum use of non-fossil sources. That means a certain amount of energy from non-fossil sources you must use. For example, now there is ethanol blending, right? Government is having a target to blend ethanol by 2023. Government will blend ethanol by 20%. That means whatever petrol we use, there will be 20% of ethanol. At present, ethanol is at 10%, right? By 2023, ethanol blending will be around 20%, right? So at every section there should be a minimum amount of ethanol that need to be used by every institution, every individual. So that's why, and that non-fossil sources. Government is also planning green hydrogen. What is green hydrogen? It is the new source of energy. Huge amount of energy can be obtained from green hydrogen. That is, especially this green hydrogen is produced by breakdown of water, right? Hydrogen oxygen will be created, that is green hydrogen. There is brown hydrogen which is obtained from natural gas, right? So these are that is, and green ammonia, the biomass, ethanol. Biomass means, for example, your gobar gas, where methane is produced from the methane is produced from that biomass, from the human or animal excreta. Methane is produced. Ethanol for energy, ethanol blending, that is produced from the from the sugarcane molasses, right? Sugarcane molasses is a good source of ethanol. So all these things by which we can create biodiesel or biofuel that can be used against the coal generated fossil fuels or petroleum generated fossil fuels. It also seeks to establish carbon credit trading markets in order to incentivize the private for emission of reduction. Carbon credit trading means, suppose if you are not able to reduce your carbon emission, and somebody else is you can also pay the money for it to another company, right? Carbon credit, that is called as carbon credit. Suppose you are mandated to produce 100 kg of CO2, but you are overcoming this number of CO2, and another company, because of its efficient technology, it is producing 90 kg of carbon dioxide. Now you can purchase 10 kg of carbon dioxide from that concerned company. That is what we call as carbon trading. Usually it is an international practice that is started from Kyoto Protocol. Kyoto Protocol came into that is started in 2003, and it mandated this carbon trading. So one country can buy carbon from another country. The country which is emitting more carbon, they can purchase less carbon from they can purchase carbon from developing countries. So that two purposes will be served. They are paying some certain amount of money. This is the initiative will be held till prelims, sir. Yes, it is important for prelims. It is important for prelims. All these are prelims, but it is important for prelims. Whatever that comes in 1 year of news, 1 year of tenure, that is important for our prelims, right? And some important are some news which are continuously important, like Glasgow summit. It is a very famous summit. It is important for every time. Each and every time it is important, right? For example, certain missions, space missions, that is important for every year. We cannot, that is not limited to 1 year. So only those summits, those current affairs which are most important, they are always important. They remains current. They can be common question in any time, in any year, right? Okay. So next, under carbon trading scheme, reduction of carbon emissions certificates will be issued to those who meet their emission targets. Those who are meeting their emission targets, every company will be provided emission targets, and those who meet their emission targets, they will get the benefits and they will get the certificates. And those who do not meet their emission target, they can purchase emissions from any other country, any other Indian industry. So that what will happen? The industry gets a benefit. They will encourage to develop for the development of advanced technologies, so that they will reduce the carbon emission. These certificates can be traded with those unable to meet their emission targets, right? They can be traded. Those who are unable to meet their emission target, they can be traded. So they are incentivized. Those who are observing, and those who are obeying the climate laws, they will be incentivized. Next, this carbon trading scheme will subsume all the present tradable green and white tax. Green and white tax that will subsume in carbon trading. The bill seeks to make large residential building comply mandatorily with energy efficiency code. Energy efficiency code means you whatever the appliances, electric appliances you are using, that must be energy efficient, right? For example, instead of fluorescent bulbs, if you must use LED bulbs, energy efficient. Certain amount of energy should, in case of big industry, big institutions, certain amount of energy should be from the renewable sources rather than the conventional sources, right? Next, currently only commercial buildings are required to follow the energy efficiency code. Commercial building required to follow the energy efficiency code. Others provisions under the bill: enhance the scope of energy conservation building code, amend the penalty provisions, strengthening institution to set up originally under the act, as per Bureau of Energy Efficiency. Bureau of Energy Efficiency. See, if you have scarcity of energy, India is not a country. Class timing is always from year 12 to 2, right? From 12 we start the objective question discussion, that will continue for half an hour or 1 hour, and after that will be based on current affairs and those static portion which are from those static portion which are based on current affairs. We will discuss questions around 15 to 30 questions will be discussed every day, and after that time we'll discuss some current affairs that are in news, like in paragraph form and bullet point form, and also there are some mains analysis, right? Mains analysis of a particular mains question, how to answer that is important, that will be important for your conceptual knowledge and for answer writing. So this is yes. So Bureau of Energy, if a country is facing the problem of energy crisis, there are two ways to address it. Either you increase your energy production, increase your renewable energy sources, or import more, increase your production, or you have to use you create awareness regarding reduction of the energy, or you have to use energy efficient equipments, right? Energy efficient equipments means developed technology. You have to accept developed technology. Maybe that is by technology transfer from the developed countries, or by any means you can induce the developed technologies. For example, in the fluorescent bulbs are the bulb which are using 10 years ago and the bulb which are using today, there is 5 and 6 times of efficiency, right? Almost 10 times the efficiency. Today's bulbs 10 times efficient. That means today if you are using 15 bulbs, that is equivalent to one fluorescent bulb that were used 10 years ago. So to ensure energy security, we can use energy efficient equipments, and that developing does energy efficiency, that regulator body is Bureau of Energy Efficiency. Empower the state electricity regulatory commissions to make regulations for smooth discharge of its function. State electricity regulatory commissions, right? Because they are they also providing energy, because that is the source of distribution of energy. So it is mandated that every state distribution energy, they will also purchase some energy that is from renewable sources, right? Okay, next, National Anti-Doping Agency. Anti-Doping Agency, it is very important, because many times we have seen Ministry of Youth and sports person are getting caught because of doping, right? Doping means consuming some chemicals or one type of drugs so that they can feel more energetic and they can work, they can perform much better. So what they fail in the dope test. So National Anti-Doping Agency, NADA, it is under Ministry of Youth and Sports, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. It has National Anti-Doping Agency, that is NADA. It was set up as a registered society under Society Registration Act 1960. Remember, it is not a statutory body. Statutory body means those bodies which are created by an act of a parliament. Right? It's not a statutory body. It's a society under this act. There are so many societies. There are thousands of societies under Society Registration Act of 1860. So this is not a statutory body. Statutory body means for a particular body, if a particular act is passed. For example, Security and Exchange Board of India. In 1992, it is established by a statutory act. National Human Rights Commission, by a statutory act, it is produced, right? That's why that is statutory. So it is not a statutory body. It is a society under Registration Act of 1860 in 2005 with a mandate of dope-free sports in India. Dope-free sports, so that no one will consume any type of drugs to perform better in the field. The primary objectives are to implement anti-doping rules as per WADA code, regulate, develop control programs to promote education, research, and create awareness about doping and its ill effects. Right? Regulate dope, control the programs, promote education and awareness, research. All these things to be That is the responsibility of National Anti-Doping Agency or NADA. Next, NADA includes scientists and representatives from Indian Olympic Association. Scientists and representatives for Indian Olympic Association, because if the players will consume them, then it is India which will suffer. Next. Recent activities by NADA. NADA has developed an anti-doping education and awareness generation toolkit with use of technology. Education and awareness generation toolkit with use of technology. Awareness generation write down the school level about what comprises doping and related aspects. What can be called as doping? Many times, because of lack of awareness, also these players they also suffer by the doping test. So to create awareness among the players, this is NADA is established. Right. Just a minute. Next. DES Bill 2022. What is this DES Bill 2022? The government has planned to table development of enterprise and service hubs. Development of enterprise and service hubs. This bill in the monsoon session of the Parliament, which will overhaul the Special Economic Zones Act 2005. Right. Development of enterprise and service hubs, Special Economic Zone Act 2005. It was there for promotion of exports. Now that will be replaced by the DES Bill. The DES Bill will overhaul the existing SEZ law in 2005, aiming to divide the interest in SEZ. Divide the interest in the, that is SEZ means Special Economic Zones. Special Economic Zones, why it is important? It is important because why they are created? They are created, special economic zones are created for export purposes, especially to improve the exports. We are a service sector. We are not a manufacturing sector. China is a manufacturing sector, right? China is, even today we have a huge trade deficit. That's why India is developing the special economic zones. In those areas, we want to develop the infrastructure. We want to develop the communication. So that FDI into those areas will come, right? These SEZ are basically this is developed for that purposes, so that investments will come, and for development all those SEZs we have to ensure that there is land banks, we have to ensure that there is communication, railways, roads, and literate population in those areas, right? And there will be all the government support or ease of doing business. All these things are essential to establish an SEZ, and for that we will develop our manufacturing. Our manufacturing sector is contributing less than 17% of our GDP. Manufacturing sector is contributing less than 17% of our GDP. Right? Service sector is contributing around 57% of the GDP. What is the problem? Problem is that service sector cannot fulfill the problem of unemployment unless and until we have a 25% of share in manufacturing. We cannot have 25% of share in manufacturing. We cannot solve the problem of unemployment. For development of that 25% of the manufacturing sector, we need a series of steps. In every dimension. That is, we have to pass our land acquisition law. We have to reform our labor laws. That is, rationalization of labor laws. There are so many archaic laws which are unnecessary. There is bureaucratic red tapeism. There are many unnecessary. So all these things that need to be developed. So that need to reform. Labor laws need to be reformed. Ease of doing need to increase. we have to ensure that a time limit for every clearance, that is how much clearance for a particular industry we require. For big industries, there should be a time frame within which the clearance should be done, right? We have to fasten the process of clearance. Like Telangana has started a right to clearance procedure, right? So that for small industries will get early clearance, for big industries there will be slightly more clearance, but early clearance is essential for development of this manufacturing sector. Also, there is another sector is providing, yes, to reduce the bureaucratic apathy. The unnecessary rules need to be deleted. The labor laws should be reformed for that, for the purpose. And one more purpose like this is also creation of the special economic zones. The country which has more special economic zones, the manufacturing sector will develop. And if our objective is to develop manufacturing sector up to 25% of GDP, we have to establish so many special economic zones. And it is established in 2005. We have to reform it because we have to make it according to our principle of Make in India or Atmanirbhar Bharat, right? Or making the modern schemes, that PM Gati Shakti scheme, the national monetization scheme, all these schemes will be interrelated, and that need to be reformed. That's why this bill has brought to reform the Special Economic Act of 2005. This bill will overhaul the existing SEZ law of 2005, aiming to revive interest in SEZ. Interest means security exchange, special economic zones of interest of the investors, that may be the domestic investors or the international investors. Through this, the government is seeking to go beyond export-oriented manufacturing, and focus on broad-based parameters as boost additional economic activity in integrating various industrial hubs. There are various now. We have to reduce our trade deficit, right? Trade deficit has increased to highest, that is around $26 billion, because our imports are also increasing day by day. So we have our exports are always less than imports. Our exports are always less than imports after post-independence, except once, right? So so that's why we have to reduce this. We have to create such a manufacturing hub so that we'll export more amount of goods and our import will be reduced. In such a situation, various industrial hubs, integrating various industrial hubs, it is essential. Creating special economic zone, it is very important to improve our exports or to develop our manufacturing or to solve the problem of unemployment, or also we have also reduced our direct tax. Our direct tax is now effective direct tax is minimum in Asian countries. Reduction of tax is very important regarding to invite the foreign investors, right? If you want to get huge amount of investment, you have to reduce your taxes. That will increase your tax buoyancy. Tax buoyancy means when you reduce tax, the tax increases, because huge amount of people, they pay the tax and investment comes. So if huge industries will come and invest, they will also give revenues, right? That is called a Chinese model of growth. Chinese model of growth is that if you develop your urban areas, your rural areas will be automatically developed. Developing urban areas means if you develop your urban areas, huge amount of investments will come, and if huge amount of investments will come, government will get revenues, and with that revenues, government will have the capacity to invest in the rural areas and to get the economic benefit. Next, the new law will allow units to manufacture both domestic and international market. They will allow manufacturing for both for domestic market and international market. India is now a big market. It's always a big market, having 1.4 billion of population. So it's a huge domestic market and international market as well. If we sell in our manufactured goods in a domestic market, first thing is that it will reduce our dependency on foreign countries. It will strengthen our foreign exchange reserves. Although our foreign exchange reserve is very strong, around more than $570 billion at present. So that's a very huge amount. Still, that will increase our foreign exchange reserves like China. The developmental hubs will be classified in two types: enterprise and service hubs. Enterprise and service hubs, that means both in manufacturing and service sector. Service sector means production of goods, and manufacturing sector means production of goods. Service sector means providing some particular services. For example, like this education, like health services, like telecom services. These are service sector. The enterprise hubs will have land-based area requirements and be allowed for both manufacturing and service activities. Allowed for both manufacturing and service activities. The service hubs will have built area requirements and allowed for only service related activities. There will be some service hubs, right? And there will be some enterprise hubs, that is land based area requirements and allowed for both manufacturing and service activities, and there will be some particular service hubs. So this categorization makes something special and make everything the functioning of that particular special economic zone, it will be easy. These hubs, which will come under the regional boards of the states, could be created by center or states or jointly by both or by any goods and service provider. Will come under the regional boards of the states and could be created by the center and the states or jointly by by any goods and service provider. So private participation is allowed. State and center, so federal government, state, central government, they will establish such type of special economic zone. These hubs will be established. These hubs will be free from several laws and currently restricting them. Free from several laws means that labor laws will be rationalized in those areas, and there will be land acquisition will be easy, right? All these environmental clearance will be easy in those areas. So that will restrict, many laws are not applied in those areas. Under the DES bill, net positive growth criteria will be used to judge the performance. Net positive growth criteria, right? How much net positive growth happens, that is the criteria, and that will judge the performance, right, of that DES or of that hub. Custom duty and tax. The custom duty would be only be paid on the inputs used and not on the expensive final goods. Expensive final goods, that there will be no custom duty. On expensive final goods, there will be no custom duty will be imposed. An equalization levy may be imposed on goods and services supplied to domestic market to bring taxes at par with those provided by the units outside. That equalization levy means, what do you mean by equalization levy? For example, China is producing the same particular good with a pen with 20 rupees, and India is creating the same pen with 15 rupees. So suppose India is providing the same yes. Yes. Sorry, this is equalization levy. Yes, equalization levy is imposed on goods and services to supply domestic market to bring taxes at par with those provided by the units outside. Sometimes, yes, so that this will not be dumping. Dumping means what happens many times. What China do? China imposes the domestic cost of a particular product. For example, the steel in China is more expensive than the Chinese steel that is exported to India, right? So there is no equalization. But in case of India, there will be equalization levy. That means there will not be gap. For export promotion, China also determines its own price. It sells the same goods with high price in its own state, but in foreign state, it gives it at low price. Significance. One of the key aspects of this bill is to also promote the expansion of the gambit of service sector units. Due this bill is also promote the expansion of the gambit of service sector units, because we have to also facilitate our service sector. We have a very service hub. We have a large scale population of English speaking people. So there is huge development of software sector in case of India. Indian people are working throughout the world, where India is getting highest amount of remittances. So in such a situation, only specified services such as IT, ITS will be allowed in special economic zones. Shortcomings of the SEZ Act. According to the WTO's Dispute Settlement Panel, India's export-related schemes, including SEZ scheme, were inconsistent with WTO rules since they directly link with tax benefits to the exports. Inconsistent with WTO Dispute Settlement Panel, India export-related schemes are inconsistent with WTO rules since they directly link tax benefit to the exports, because they give tax benefit. What do you mean by it? For example, a particular good, if other countries are providing, including their tax, if they are selling a product in international market at 25 rupees, right? In India, suppose they are not taking taxes, and the manufacturing cost is also here is manufacturing cost is 20. For Indian goods also manufacturing cost is 20. India can sell it here as 20 at rupees 20. So the price of Indian goods will be less than the other price of the bodies of international market. So obviously that company will suffer. That is why WTO rules that it says that WTO dispute settlement says that India export related schemes are prohibited subsidies under the agreement, right? The SEZ Act was implemented in 2006 in a bid to create export hubs and boost manufacturing in the country. To boost manufacturing in the country and export hubs, this SEZ Act has been created, right? However, these zones started lodging their scene after imposition of minimum alternate tax, or MAT. MAT means that is minimum tax that need to be present every company that work in India. In the introduction of sunset clause for the removal of tax incentives. Their removal of tax incentives. So such type of development reduce the interest in the special economic zones. As a part of then diammonium phosphate. As a part of Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative, Government of India has been supporting the Indian fertilizer companies, including those producing diammonium phosphate, to strengthen their back-end supply chain. Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative, Government of India has been supporting. As a part of Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative, Government of India has been supporting the Indian fertilizers companies, including those producing diammonium phosphate, to strengthen back-end supply chain. Right? What is the diammonium phosphate? It is world's most widely used phosphorus fertilizers. World's most widely used phosphorus fertilizers is diammonium phosphate. It is preferred fertilizer in India because it contains nitrogen, phosphorus, and are primary micronutrients of 18 essential plant nutrients. Macronutrients of 8 and part of 18 essential plant nutrients. DAP is manufactured by reacting ammonia with phosphoric acid. It is manufactured by reacting ammonia with phosphoric acid under controlled condition of fertilizers plants. Uses of DAP is excellent source of phosphorus and nitrogen for plant nutrition. It is highly soluble, thus dissolves quickly in soil, release plant available phosphate and ammonium. So all these are important regarding the DAP fertilizer, that is diammonium phosphate fertilizer, which contains both phosphorus and ammonium, both phosphorus and nitrogen. Right. Okay, so this is about diammonium phosphate. Okay, next question is, Why India is taking keen interest in the Arctic region? What is Indians' interest in the Arctic region? Just wait 1 minute. Okay. So, why India is taking keen interest in the Arctic region? Although India may be far from Arctic region physically, but impact of melting in the Arctic ice on global climate is likely to be significant. India also understands geostrategic importance of the Arctic region. Why it is important? Why Arctic region is important for India? Now the world is facing two major problems. One is climate change, second is terrorism, right? So far as climate change is concerned, one of the major problems of the island states. We have also island states. The island states are facing the threat. By 2050, most of the island states, they will be underwater because the primary reason is the glacial melting. That is why we have Glasgow summit. That is why we have Glasgow summit of in Glasgow climate change summit. All the countries in COP26, all the countries they have placed to reduce the global temperature by 2 degrees Celsius. So these are the steps they have taken to counter the climate change. In case of one of the major reason for this climate is against glacial melting is Arctic region. Huge amount of glaciers are present there. So if you are not conserving the climate, then that glaciers will melt and sea level will rise throughout the world, and India and other littoral states that will be hampered by this. As compared to any other state, India is more serious regarding climate change as compared to any other state. In Glasgow summit, India is the only country who has achieved its national determined commitments and other than all other countries. So it can be said that India is actively participating in the international affairs so far as climate summit is concerned. So to study the monsoon pattern and to work against climate change, India has vital interest in the Arctic region, and also to be a part of global politics because India has aspiration to take leadership in global politics. The reason is that India is the largest democracy. India is aspirant of United Nations permanent member of Security Council. That's why India has to interfere in every crucial, every important issues of world politics, and that is why India is getting associated with the Arctic politics. Although it is not physically present there, still it is understand the geostrategic importance there is of Arctic region. There is huge presence of various Russia and other countries and USA because of its strategic relevance. To study monsoon pattern, to study the hypothesized teleconnections between the Arctic climate and the Indian monsoon by analyzing the sediment and ice core records from the Arctic glaciers and the Arctic Ocean. Right. So to understand the monsoon pattern, that will help Indian. If you understand the monsoon pattern, that will help India, right? Because now we can the monsoon pattern is changing. Around 18% of monsoon is changed in last few decades, because of the climate change, and for that agricultural productivity is getting reduced for the region. Next, to characterize sea ice in Arctic using satellite data to estimate the effect of global warming in the northern polar region. Sea ice in Arctic satellite data. Sea ice Arctic using satellite data to estimate the effect of global warming on the northern polar region. right? It is to calculate how much it will going to affect. On the basis of that, we will take our adaptation measures. Adaptation measure means if the crisis exists there, then we have to take certain steps to save ourselves, right? We have to take certain steps to save ourselves. What is that? Mitigation means you are addressing the original issue, but adaptation means you are taking certain steps so that you can exist in that crisis as well. For example, if temperature are rising, plantation is called as plantation of barrier plants, that is your adaptation, that is your mitigation. But if you are purchasing an AC, that is adaptation, right? So for various adaptation measures, India is also focusing on the Arctic regions. To carry out a comprehensive assessment of the flora and fauna of the Arctic vis-a-vis their response to the anthropogenic activities. In addition, it is proposed to undertake comparative study on the life forms from the both polar regions. Right. For quantitative study and research also, India is studying the both polar regions to carry out comprehensive assessment of the flora and fauna to understand the biodiversity aspect. Right. In the polar regions, we have Dakhin Gangotri, Sagar Nidhi, various research stations in the polar areas. For exploration of hydrocarbons, the opening of the sea routes and the exploration of the hydrocarbons present economic opportunities which Indian companies can also exploit. There is also exploration of hydrocarbons. Indian companies, they can explore the hydrocarbons. These are global commons. Global commons means where, that means those areas where the rights of every country exist, and Indian can utilize this type of opportunities to explore the hydrocarbons. China's ability to navigate the northern sea route, NSR, is another factor in India's military strategy in that region. Navigate northern sea route. China's ability to navigate northern sea route is another factor in India's military strategy in that region. Observer role of India Arctic Council. India has the significant expertise in this area, and from association with Antarctic Treaty System can play a constructive role in the security of a stable Arctic. Observer role in India has observer role in the Arctic Council, right? So there is constructive role in security stable Arctic. There is also various conflicts between the Western countries and the Russia with respect to Arctic Council. So as India is a peaceful member, India has good relationship with USA, India has good relationship with Russia. So India, as it has observer status, it can make a constructive role for a stable Arctic. There should not be any conflict of interest in the stable Arctic, because that will hamper the efforts to observing the climate change. India, in its new role as a permanent observer of Arctic Council, is committed to contribute to the deliberations of the Council to develop effective cooperative partnership that can contribute to a safe, stable and secure Arctic. That can contribute to a safe, stable and secure Arctic. Role as a permanent observer is committed to contribute deliberation in the councils. Right? Deliberation discussion in the council can also done by the India for climate awareness and the steps commitment regarding climate. Right? Climate preservation. It maintains permanent research station at Svalbard, right? On the negative side, enhancement of economic activity in the Arctic region will accelerate global warming, right? This enhancement of economic activity, that is exploitation of natural resources, that will accelerate the global warming and lead to large sea level rise impacting the global climate, which India cannot indifferent. India has around 7,500 coastal lines. So if there is also Andaman Nicobar Island, Nicobar Islands, various island nations are there in the Indian Ocean. So if the sea level rise, India will suffer to a large extent, right? Okay. Next we will discuss some quality topic. Okay. What are rare earth materials and why India is keen to join global alliance to ensure their supply? Right? Why India is keen to join the global alliance to ensure the supply of rare earth materials? As part of global China plus one strategy adopted post COVID-19 pandemic that caused massive supply chain disruptions, a group of Western nations are cooperating to develop alternatives to China to ensure key industrial supplies. Right? A new US-led partnership initiative of 11 nations aims to bolster critical mineral supply chains. Right? US-led partnership of 11 countries. India is not a partner of this arrangement called the Mineral Security Partnership, but India is working through diplomatic channels to face an entry. India wants to enter the Mineral Security Partnership. Right? Why? Because China is the largest reservoir of critical rare earth materials. So, and China it is authoritarian regime. It is violating international laws. It is not a democracy. So that's why, and it is against the conflict of relationship between USA and China, and it is a rising power as well. So to reduce the effectiveness of China in India, USA has developed that is a Mineral Security Partnership or MSP to supply critical mineral supply chains. So what are those industries? That is Australia, Canada, Finland, France, Germany, Japan, and Republic of Korea, South Korea, Sweden, and United Kingdom, and European Commission. They have come together to form the Mineral Security Partnership. A new grouping is aimed at catalyzing investment from governments and the private sector to develop strategic opportunities. Right? They will catalyze investment from the government and private sector to develop the strategic opportunities, or they will develop the cooperation regarding rare earth materials. Demand for critical minerals which are essential for clean energy. Demand for critical minerals which are essential for clean energy and other technologies are projected to expand significantly in the coming decades, especially in the use of semiconductors and various electronic devices. The rare earth material use will be increased. So in those situations, the countries must cooperate with each other. If I have certain rare earth material, I will send to you, and you have certain rare earth material, you send to me. So both will excel in the field of rare earth materials or producing important equipments that adhere to the highest environmental and social and governance standards across the full value chain, that adheres to highest environmental, social and governance standards. The new grouping could focus on the supply chains of minerals such as cobalt, nickel, lithium, and 17 other rare earth materials. The alliance is seen as a primary focus on developing alternative to China, because China is the largest reservoir of rare earth material. Created processing infrastructure rare earth materials and has acquired mines in Africa for elements such as cobalt. Right. China has been exploiting various minerals from Africa since long age. What are the rare earth materials element? There are 17 rare earth materials. Very important. Remember, rare earth which is used multiple times, so it is very important. There are 17 rare earth materials, include 15 lanthanides, atomic number 57, which is lanthanum and periodic table, plus scandium and yttrium. RED is classified as largest RE elements, rare earth materials. The heavy rare earth materials, that is light rare earth materials and heavy rare earth materials, they are classified. Some rare earth materials available in India as lanthanum, cerium, neodymium, praseodymium and samarium, etc. Others such as dysprosium, terbium, europium, in which classified as heavy rare earth material, are not available in the Indian deposits of extractable quantities. extractable quantities, what we can extract, right? Because there is a minimum investment is required for every mines, so that it need to be beneficial. Our extraction should not be most cost, it should be cost effective as compared to import. If it is more than, if the cost is more than import, then what is the purpose of doing that? Hence there is a dependence on countries such as China for heavy rare earth materials of different countries who are dependent on China for heavy rare earth materials, which is often leading to for producers of rare earth materials with an estimated of 70% of share of global production, right? There is 70% share of global production, depends on the countries such as China. They have 70% of share of global production of heavy rare earth materials. That's why we are dependent on them. According to US Geological Survey, supplies from China has started to become erratic as early as 1990. Beijing kept changing the amounts it would allow to be produced and exported. Also, according to USGS, Chinese government began to limit the number of companies, both Chinese and Sino-foreign joint ventures, that could export rare earth materials from China. So it says it means that China is not interested to export the rare earth materials so easily, because they know that its demand will increase in future, right? Because the future generation will they require rare earth materials. Why they are important? Minerals like cobalt, nickel, lithium are required for batteries of electric vehicles. Cobalt, lithium, nickel, they are required for batteries of electric vehicles. We are now getting shifted to electric vehicles, right? Because of the to get adhered to the Glasgow summit or to achieve our national determined commitments and to reduce our dependency on fossil fuels, to reduce the carbon emission, we are dependent on rare earth materials. The REE are essential, although they are often tiny component of more than 200 consumer products, right? It is essential for more than 200 consumer products, and they are getting used, including mobile phones, computer hard drives, electric and hybrid vehicles, semiconductors, flat screen TVs, and monitors, and high-end electronics. So in case of electronics industry, there is high use of these rare earth materials. India is seen as a late mover in attempts to enter lithium value chain, coming at a time when electric vehicles are predicted to be a sector ripe for disruption. Enter lithium value chain, coming at a time when electric vehicles are predicted to be a sector ripe for disruption. That means electric vehicle is going to be dominating the world, right, in terms of production, because that may create the unemployment and other sides, or the suddenly the demand of these goods are going to be increased in recent years. The year 2022 is like to be an inflection point of battery technology, right? Year 2002, inflection point of battery technology. Various vehicles also started in the market. Their demand has increased. Electric technology demand is increased. Lion technology improvements with several potential improvements to the lithium ion technologies. That is, in lithium ion batteries, in every mobile there is uses of lithium ion batteries. Okay. India has ambitious plan to convert large percentage of its transport to electric and would require these minerals, right? We have to by 2028 or by 2030, the non-heavy vehicles would be electric. That is what we target, that to reduce, to get shifted to the electric vehicle, because there is a rupee is getting weakened, we are dependent on foreign imports, or there is trade deficit is increasing, so, and also carbon emission is increasing. So to address the climate change, India is going towards electric. There is also fuel prices are also increasing in the global market. According to the plan, 80% of the country's 2 and 3 wheeler fleet, 40% of buses, and 70% of cars will be electric vehicles by 2030, right? 80% of 2 to 3 wheeler fleet, 40% of buses, and 30 and 70% of cars, 30 to 70% of cars will be electric vehicle by 2030. This is our objective. So what is India's major concern at this moment? According to experts, if India is not able to explore and produce these minerals, it will have to depend on a handful countries, including China, to power its energy transition plans to electric vehicles, that will be similar to our dependence on few countries for oil. Dependent on handful countries, including China. We have to dependent on those countries who have rare earth materials, right? So it's to power its transition to electric vehicles, that will be similar to dependence on the countries on the oil. Like oil, for oil we are dependent on the foreign countries. Similar thing will be dependent on the similarly we will be dependent on the other countries for rare earth materials, right? According to industry, watchers of the region, India would not have to find a place in the MSP grouping because the country does not bring any expertise to the table. Industry watchers, reason why India do not have found a place in the MSP grouping because the country does not bring any expertise to the table. In the group, countries like Australia, Canada have reserves and also the technology to extract them. The country like Japan have the technology to process rare earth materials. We do not have expertise, we do not have sufficient technological manpower. That's why we are not on the table of MSP. That is the grouping that is developed by USA to extract the rare earth materials. So the lectures end here, and like this video and share this video and subscribe to VANIK-IAS. Thank you. सर आज क्लास अच्छे से टाइम टा कम करिया पड़ला आज मोर भूल